today we are going to make recycling and repurposing fun and kind of sexy. Victor Quiros and Andrea Edmondson with Upcycle Tucson are here to show us how. You guys, thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for having us.
Well, let's actually start out with, we have kind of a unique art center that we're going to be telling people about today, right?
Yes. It's actually called a Creative Reuse Art Center, and a lot of people aren't familiar with that term, but the key word is reuse. And so what happens in communities is materials get disposed of in the landfill that really have other purposes.
Yep.
And some of them are extremely cool materials. Now, sometimes there might be something real simple like paints, and people are done with the paints and they throw them away. But then there's other materials that could be used in artwork that people aren't aware of. So for example, here's like samples of wallpaper. And look at the texture on these.
Yep.
And so somebody like a collage artist could use that.
Oh.
And there's other things, samples from carpets. You know?
Oh, that's what that is.
Yes, it looks like a strand of tufts to hang from a golf cart, but really they're little carpet samples. And so there's all kinds of materials, fabric books, metals, small tiles, things that actually might get thrown away that could be used in artwork.
So how are these supplies kind of gathered or collected?
The community donates them.
Okay.
And so we have materials that are, like I said, traditional art materials, but then people realize, and very familiar, especially artists and crafters, realize that there's some very cool materials that they want to get, that they use in their artwork.
And when I kind of picked up on one thing you said right now is maybe a lot of people don't know. So how are you guys going about educating people on, you know, the art and things that we can do with all of this?
Well,
yeah, there's a laundry list of ways because you guys are doing a great job.
Right.
So what do you want to start with on how you guys are educating?
So a lot of it just comes from people coming into the shop and the things we can show them of before and afters, for instance. Here's a synthetic bone used at a medical conference that would have been thrown out, and we can show people how you can create it into something else.
How cute.
A dog leash hanger. These bags were all made from fabric samples. Without having to do a lot of cutting, a lot of hemming, you can put these together. So a lot of the education happens when people come into our shop.
Yeah.
But we also then go out into the community. We talk to groups and show them what can be done. We're holding meetups, so it's an upcycle challenge that we're doing where we bring in some of these materials and people from the community are coming in and deciding what they can do with them in different
helping
ways.
us discover solutions, because a big part of creativity is problem solving.
Yeah.
And so like even with our classes that we offer a lot of classes to the community. So how would you take a piece of fabric remnant and turn it into a nice handbag?
And so these, when you go to the classes, you'll actually walk out with something that you can use. This is amazing. And I know some of the pictures we're looking at, are these from some of the classes and things?
Yes, that's in particular is a mosaics class from found and personal items. So say you have your favorite pair of earrings, or in my case, his grandmother gave me a pearl earring. Pearl earrings, I lost one.
Yeah.
And I had a bunch of other materials that I wanted to use, and so I could put it into a mosaic and still keep those materials and then mount it on the wall.
Yeah, speaking of, is that kind of like what I have going on here?
That's from one of our classes.
Yeah.
So there's a woodworker, an artist in town that takes old pallets,
and
breaks them apart.
wood.
So then it's the pallet wood and things you would normally throw out. If you change hinges at home, you might throw them out if you don't have a lot of them, but you can use them for things like this. And we actually use this in the shop to hang these bags from.
Oh, okay. That is so unique and so different. And I love looking at all these different classes that people can take and things that they can, you know, make out of something. So besides classes and coming in, how else can the community kind of get involved?
Well, like one of the pictures that you were actually just showing a few minutes ago was called, it's an activity that we have for groups called Native Creative. And it's when people say, oh, I'm not creative, what can I do?
Yeah.
You know, and so what we do is we provide materials, we surprise them with the materials, and we give them all the things they need to put them together, glues, adhesives, scissors, etc. And then we challenge them to come up with something. But it's also a community event. They talk to each other, they share things, etc. So that's one way, just to force people to think, it's up to you, the problem solving, to be creative.
I am that person. I say, well, even on the show, I always say, I'm not creative. I'm not that person. But you know what? If I probably left at my own devices with something and a blank palette to kind of get creative, that would become something that it might surprise myself. So that's what you guys are kind of hoping for, is to get those creative juices going.
Right.
But I'm also going to we keep mentioning about coming into the shop. I'm going to let everyone know you guys have a special for everyone. But I want to thank you guys so much for coming in.
Thanks for having us here.
Oh,
Thank you.
absolutely. Now, as a special for viewers, through the end of March, you can get 20% off any sale of $15 or more of merchandise by mentioning the Morning Blend. To learn more, call 445-7694 or visit upcycletucson.com.